I'm going to talk about our experience in rear window collisions in the context of Spain. During the first part of the talk, I will show you the results of a long-term study conducted in a hotspot of mortality in a problematic building in Catalonia. While in the second part, I will give you also some other examples of mortality caused by collisions with human infrastructures. Well, I think it's not necessary to introduce the topic of this meeting. Every year, millions of birds die by collisions with windows, or more in general, with any kind of transparent or reflective human infrastructure. Despite of being one of the main causes of artificial bird mortality, it does not attract much attention and concern, even among conservationists, especially here in some parts of Europe. In our study case, in 2012, we detected by chance a possible hotspot of mortality in this building, in the city center of Tarragona. It is a medium-sized city, less than 100 kilometers apart from Barcelona, in the Mediterranean coast of Catalonia. As you can see in the picture, it's a relatively modest building with just 5 floors and about 20 meters high. It has balconies with glass panels with a strong reflective effect of the trees in front of the building. And interviews with the owners revealed that, in fact, they found regularly dead birds, both in the street and in their balconies. Moreover, they made in 2008 a formal complaint to the city council due to the dead birds issue. So we guess that this problem has been going on perhaps since the year 2000, when the building was finished. For the reason, we started to make regular surveys during the autumn migration. This is from August to November in 2012. We continued our sampling up to 2015. Sampling consisted just in walks around the building, seeking for dead birds in the street. The results from these 4 years of study were 236 visits to the building in 189 different days. And we found a total of 172 dead birds. In fact, we found also some still alive, injured, or desert. And all corpses were collected for identification, sexing, aging, and we take also typical biometrical measurements. We found 15 different species, in all cases, but the Sardinian warbler were a migrant bird. As you see in the pie chart, 3 species, the blackcap, the reed warbler, and the pied flycatcher, accounted for the 72% of all casualties recorded there. A comparison of this distribution with the birds trapped during the same period in a close ringing station revealed that this distribution was probably not reflecting the abundance of composition of the community of migrant birds in the area. For instance, robins are really common and occupy urban areas, but they represented just a small fraction of dead birds. However, it was quite surprising the occurrence in the center of the urban area of species such as the reed warbler, of the subalpine warbler, never seen there before. Therefore, some species would be more prone to collide. This species-specific sensitivity to rear window collision should merit further studies. During the first study year in 2012, we visited the site at different hours, and we found that most mortality happened around dawn and early in the morning. This can be a natural pattern reflecting landing of nocturnal migrants to rest and fed when the sun rises. But it can also be due to the low persistence of the corpses during the day, as they are regularly removed by the owners, as well by the city cleaning services. For these reasons, we strongly recommend to carry out the survey between hour after and hour after sunrise to avoid biases and heavy subestimation. The problem of corpse removal is well illustrated with the picture of a litter bin where we found this wood pigeon. To enhance our survey, we installed a bird box and informed people of the building that they could put there any dead bird. Furthermore, we could not survey every day, and we could not visit the site every day from August to November. During our 4 years of monitoring, we fitted Gaussian curves to our data to fill the gaps and estimate the real number of dead birds. Surprisingly, we found that the recorded number of dead birds was barely half of the real cases. So the real number of dead birds during the 4 years of autumn migration in this single building of Tarragona was around 350 birds. Next one. The solution to the problem was finally there was a happy end, because thanks to the evidence compiled, the city council installed stikers in 2 of 5 floors in 2016. We continued our monitoring and we detected a reduction of mortality during the next 2 years, in 2016 and 2017. And in 2018, stikers were installed in glass panes, but the ones from the top floor. So you can see different stages of corrections. First, only 2, and later another action of correction. As you can see in the graph, the management actions were really effective in reducing a lot of bird mortality for different number of collisions after the correction. You can read more details about our study in a paper we published in 2017 in the Catalan Journal of Ornitology, which is open access. And also in 2019, we published a more popular article in the magazine, the Spanish magazine Quercus, telling the happy end of the story for a more broad audience. News published, following please. The news published in the several local and regional newspapers since 2014 were probably more important than our publications to increase the public awareness about this largely unknown conservation issue among people. It is absolutely essential to give more visibility in mass media to this problem, because citizens are the best way to detect and report other hotspots of mortality. And this links with the rest of the talk, which is mainly based on many cases reported by people. Next, please. As I mentioned, we almost know nothing about this problem in Spain. We know that there have been a proliferation of glass facades during the last decade, and they have become a common trait for the most distinctive modern buildings of the modern Spanish cities, the skylines of Madrid, Barcelona, Sevilla. Therefore, potentially dangerous buildings are proliferating everywhere. On the other hand, the use of transparent glass or plastic panels for noise barriers, shelters, outdoor facilities is quite common. Therefore, there are a lot of urban elements potentially dangerous for birds everywhere. Look here, for example, the case is a park, Barcelona, very dangerous because it's a hole in the middle of a wall with vegetation, and there is some raptor silhouettes, but fortunately, very often the glass is dirty and avoid the casualties. But this is a good example what is a very, very dangerous site. Okay. Following the first example I would like to show you is a study conducted by the colleagues from the Spanish Ornithological Society, CEOBERLAI, at the campus of the University of Cantabria, in North Spain. Their monitoring of some dangerous infrastructures on this campus revealed more than 125 dead birds from 25 species between 2013 and 2018, involving in several cases non-passerine. Fortunately, this is also a happy end story because thanks to the involvement of volunteers, most of these glass surfaces has become friendlier for birds. On the other hand, children from schools were involved as well in the installation of bird tape by environmental education actions. Also, on the other hand, the students from the arts faculty of the university were involved as well to paint glass paints with birds and other natural elements. Another example where art helped to solve the problem of bird collisions has been in the tram stations in the city of Zaragoza. Here, a renowned local illustrator made a number of large vinyls paintings to avoid bird collisions against the large transparent glass paints of the station. Another example is the case we knew in 2021 because of some dead birds in a ski resort in the Catalan Pyrenees. Interestingly, the involved birds were local breeding alpine populations, which in most cases belong to threatened species like water pipit, rock bunting, rock thrush, whittier. The ski resorts managers were receptive towards this problem and also used original solutions by a combination of sky-related paintings, drawings, and motifs in the dangerous transparent panels. So they solved this threat for alpine birds. The fourth example comes from a video published in 2018 in social media by a cyclist who found dozens of dead birds in a noise barrier at a small village of Malaga and Andalusia in South Spain. The video became viral and received a lot of attention in the newspapers. The local authorities were quickly aware of the problem. Unfortunately, the solution they applied was not the most convenient. It was unclearly insufficient. I finished this series of examples with the particular case of paddle courts. Probably one of the worst problems of breeder strikes in Spain. You can see here on the map a lot of sites, problems recorded and reported for this problem. These sport facilities have become very popular, but they use large transparent panels, which are very dangerous for birds. And they especially small villages, sometimes are very close to the countryside or out of the cities. As you can see, they can cause severe mortality to local populations of birds, including species such as raptors. Some studies suggest around 100 birds per year on site, which might imply thousands of birds in a single region as Valencia. Here you can see an estimation of 70,000 dead birds only in this spot of Valencia. Unfortunately, many town councils are still not aware about these lethal facilities in some places, and in some places they remove corpses quickly to avoid complaints. Also, in the example with the paddle courts, the solutions, the most usual applied solution has been stickers. However, here you can see two examples. The first one is a nice example of an excellent management of bird collisions in a biosphere reserve in north of Madrid, when they opted by a dense network of lines and small squares. The design was really effective according to the monitoring carried out. However, in the sport facilities, another picture, in the university in Elche, they just put these white stripes, leaving open space in the glass, and this is not. They did not choose the best solution. Even with the paddle courts, it's worth to mention that some regional governments, like in Aragon, here, this part, are doing also a very good job by installing stickers in some paddle courts, and especially doing a lot of work by publicity campaigns. Here, there is a motto. We can translate this motto something like that the only impact that sound on the court are those of the wall. The motto of this announcement made by the government of Aragon. It is very important to get awareness for the general public. And following the paddle courts, there is also some other regions, as in Valencia, that they promoted methods to prevent bird collisions by innovative solutions using nets in close collaboration with local paddle sport clubs. Yeah, I can repeat the motto again. The motto before I said is that the only impact that sound on the court are those of the ball, only the sound of the ball, not the birds colliding with the glass. And a new example, we came back again as in the beginning in the city of Tarragona, where we know also about another hotspot of mortality in a gym with this glass facade just in front of big trees. Here, after some complaints of some citizens, the authorities requested to the owner of the gym to carry out the necessary management of the glass facade to reduce bird mortality. The owner was receptive to this issue and hired a company called Persol. The following, please. This company, the company Persol, is specialized in the management of big glass facades. Here I show some examples of its work available at the company webpage with very large buildings, and they put invisible polyester sheets in the outside of the last paints, used as the stikers. This is an option not for bird strikes. This is a management for the workers in the office, in order to improve the conditions inside of the building for the inner light, for dazzle, radiation. They are highly durable and are designed to reduce light and improve insulation from overheating due to excess of radiation. And more importantly, they could help to reduce bird-windows collisions. After the installation of these sheets in the gym, the number of dead birds reduced drastically, suggesting that they could be useful. This looks an innovative solution which would merit more attention. We will be looking at this place in the coming years to see if it's really useful. Following. The conclusions from this talk, there are few take-home messages from this talk. First, there are almost no studies about bird collisions on man-made infrastructures in Spain, and consequently, we have no idea about the actual magnitude of the problem. However, there are reasons to think that this is a big problem, causing large mortalities, affecting sometimes even threatened species. We know solutions. Fortunately, we know solutions where in some cases very easy to apply, and also in some cases are cheap and very effective. So there is no excuse for inaction. Finally, it's essential to raise public awareness of this problem for two main reasons. First, awareness is the best way to promote bird-friendly designs in man-made infrastructures. And second, to have a sentinel of this problem in any citizen, so any unusual bird mortality would be detected and reported to authorities. And the last one, in this sense and related to this issue, I would like to end this talk showing our initiative from the Catalan Ornitological Institute to make each citizen a sentinel of their windows collision. In 2018, we launched a special app with the portal Ornito.cat to record mortality events, including bird strikes against windows. The app sends automatically an alert to the rangers so they can check each reported case and carry out the mandatory formal complaint. We know that the Spanish Ornithological Society launched a similar app recently. We really think that this is the best way to find and monitor new hotspots of bird mortality. This is all. Thank you. Thank you very much for your attention.